Hey guys, welcome back to the BuzWeaver channel. And in our top stories today, a little bit of health-related information here that I found kind of interesting from The Guardian. More women may be psychopaths than previously thought, says the experts, of course. Dr. Clive Body says assessment skews towards obvious male traits, but female psychopath is more suitable. And I find it interesting, just in the times that we're living in, the self-preoccupation we have as individuals and people, the levels of anxiety, the levels of stress, the levels of trouble and torment that a lot of us go through, particularly in politics. As you guys know, that's partly what my channel is about, is politics. And oftentimes people try to avoid news-related stories or current events and or politics because, of course, it can raise those levels of anxiety. And so that is another attribute to covering these stories that can impact views and things like that. And it's understandable, particularly people of my generation, and so forth, that obviously they want to try to stay as positive as possible, and news can be kind of negative. So I digress. When it comes to a typical psychopath, the suited and booted Patrick Bateman from the novel American Psycho might spring to mind, but according to one expert, the number of women with the neuropsychiatric disorder could be far greater than previously thought. Psychopaths are generally considered to lack empathy and guilt, exhibit antisocial behavior, lie frequently, and be ruthless, narcissistic, and manipulative. Psychopaths are after money, power, and control, said Dr. Clive Body from Anglia Ruskin University, who is an expert in psychopaths in the corporate world. So, now, when we see stories like this, we often come to the impression that this is more rampant, or it's more widespread, or other things like that. So you kind of have to take a lot of these articles and news and current events with a grain of salt. And what I do, since I work in this area, to avoid a lot of the anxiety and the stress and the depression and everything else, is I just take breaks and just do something totally different. And I don't try to get overly emotional about what I do in my work, or let it overtake a lot of my mindset, so I don't fall into like a certain path. I try to stay as objective and rational as I can. Although, of course, people are always going to blame me for being far right or other ideological factor. But the reality is I'm a constitutional conservative. So I left the Republican Party years ago because I saw the same thing happening within the Republican Party as is happening today in the Democrat Party, and that is that the establishment uniparty is in control. Now, the reason I mention all this is because what he describes here, in this instance here, where psychopaths are after money, power, and control, and that's what we're seeing in our government as well. And then, of course, above that, the paragraph above it, psychopaths are generally considered lack of empathy and guilt, exhibit antisocial behavior, lie frequently, and be ruthless, narcissistic, and manipulative. And we're kind of seeing a lot of this behavior just from activism as well, but I kind of attribute a lot of it to the political climate that we're currently in too. Now, on a side, they also mention narcissists. So from Business Insider, narcissists can hide in plain sight on Instagram. Here are 7 signs you're following one. And, again, as someone who works in social media, obviously I'm posting videos, I'm posting content, I'm putting things out there. A lot of it isn't directed at me. In other words, I'm not doing it for myself. I'm not saying, look at me, here I am, look at me doing this, look how amazing I am, look at how I'm doing this, look at how I'm doing that. Obviously, these individuals are looking for attention. They're looking for confirmation. They're looking for all those attributes that people are looking for when it comes to attention, validation, these sort of things. According to a recent study, narcissists tend to follow other narcissists on Instagram, which is kind of, birds of a feather, they have the same kind of mindset, and so they look for those same qualities in other people. Generally, says the study, which will be published in the forthcoming issue of the journal Computers and Human Behavior, we see Instagram users who post selfies and groupies as more narcissistic than people who post photos taken by others. But when certain types of narcissists see selfies and groupies, they evaluate the posters in more positive light. So a lot of social media, too, can have a tendency or be directed around the behaviors of others, how a particular group of people behave, like a political group, or in this case here, narcissists or others, perhaps people that share the same ideas, right? Sports, fitness, these sorts of things. A lot of the cross-training people, people that are in athletics and things like that. They like to take pictures, and a lot of them do it in a meaningful way. In other words, like they want to encourage people to stay healthy and so forth. But of course, then there are those that get angry and frustrated and irritated by some of them, because of course these people, really work hard. They exercise discipline, they work out, they stay fit, they eat right. And so like this gentleman right here, obviously, probably more of a model for the article than one of these individuals that post. But grandiose narcissists post photos of their progress towards health and fitness, as I was just talking here. But, there's so much to it. There's so many more dynamics to it. And a 2016 study published in the Journal of Social Networking recruited Instagram users under 26 and had them complete the 5-factor narcissist inventory. And we have just some of the different ones that there are. Vulnerable narcissists request followers. Narcissists use Instagram to look cool. General approval, self-seeking approval, those sorts of things. Narcissists spend a lot of time editing photos. I didn't realize that. That's kind of funny. I guess maybe, I know like when it comes to celebrities, they have their own Photoshop groups or their own Photoshop people, staff or colleagues or whomever works for them to make sure that their photo is the way they want it to be. Narcissists post more selfies and update their profiles more often, or pictures often, which is interesting because, of course, working in this environment, if you guys have been paying attention, pretty much this entire year, with the exception of Sunday, I've been posting videos every single day. And obviously it's because it really is what I think I should be doing. In other words, bringing information and news and stuff. If I'm covering current events, it should be a daily thing. But just the routine of the way YouTube and the algorithm and things just kind of work, it's just more productive for the channel for me to produce this type of content. But I do want it to be quality. I do want it to be something meaningful and purposeful, and not just appeasing the algorithm. But also hear from Piedmont Hospital how the internet affects your mental health. So a lot of people, of course, are on the internet or use the internet. Many of you here, of course, you can hit that like button, of course, to show your approval as you're someone on the internet now. These days, it seems we live our lives on the internet, but can excessive internet social media use impact your mental health? While it is a helpful tool for education, social interactions, and entertainment, overuse can take a toll on your health. So in other words, it's just like, obviously if you do things in moderation, that could be eating, that could be social media, that could be just things that you involve yourself in. Internet use and anxiety, whether it's from reading too much negative news or researching your symptoms online, something Dr. Matthew says he sees frequently among his patients. Too much computer time can increase your anxiety. Yeah, I see that a lot. A lot of research. Of course, I do a lot of research myself, including in this particular article to find, or this particular upload, to kind of give you guys a broader look at what all is going on in the background. Obviously, I'm going to do some of the research here, and of course, just in general conversation when it comes to current events. This is what I do daily. I look up certain things on the internet for what I would think would be of interest to bring to people. Generally, it's not a good idea to research your health symptoms online because the final outcome is a lot of unnecessary anxiety and worry, right? So if you're having medical issues and so forth, of course, always consult a medical professional, which the government could have done when it came to COVID, which has been a point I've made for a long time. Social media use can be a good thing, but it helps us keep up with family and friends, right? Studies show that excessive social media use can lead to feelings of depression and dependency in some people. When we get on social media, we're looking for affirmation, and consequently or not, we are comparing our life to the lives of others. He says, as a result, we may not enjoy what's in the moment, right? So it is kind of a comparative contrast, keeping up with the Jones, as we used to call it back in the day. And so I just found it kind of fascinating, the psychological implications just across our current social environment right now, particularly with everything going on just overall, right? It's just a big encompassing thing that people are experiencing and going through. But nonetheless, guys, thank you so much for the continued support here on social media, as we are now just talking about it. That would be the channel icon appearing there on the screen if you're here on YouTube. You can click on that and subscribe to the channel, as well as to select notifications. That way you know when there's content here on the channel. I want to thank all of you guys across New Tech as well, and I'll see all you guys in the next video.